Hey guys, it's the Garage Podcast here. It's been a while since we've last seen you all, but well, we're still alive. Don't worry. We're going to be talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, more specifically Infinity War, Endgame, and possibly the future of the MCU. I have with me two very fine individuals. Would you please introduce yourself over there in that chair right there?
My name's Camwin.
How cute. And you, my good sir?
I'm Louis.
And I'm not your host. He's the host.
Cameron's the
I'm
host.
not the host.
But I'm the guy that's going to be fact
This
checking.
is a group effort. There's no one in charge.
Yeah, we're all equally in charge.
Exactly.
I'm Sergio. Sergio Weekly. Love you.
All right, Cameron.
All
take it
right.
away.
So we're just gonna do like a recap, basically. So Infinity War. What happened, Sergio?
What happened?
What happened?
Let me see. Are we starting from the beginning or the end?
I mean,
Everybody's fucked. Everybody's dead.
all right. So how did they go about dying then? Like what exactly happened?
Thanos did the big snap. He was like, "Should have aimed for my head" or some shit like that. And he did the snap.
And then Ant-Man aimed for the ass.
Yeah, and
It's
Ant-Man's
not
going
yet.
up to
Dude, spoilers.
Oh, that's right.
God.
We read the leaks. Ant-Man
We're a little
crawls
ahead
up
of the
Thanos'
podcast
ass.
now. Jesus.
Let me rewind.
Yeah,
I
just
immediately regret saying the
backtrack
ass
there.
thing. Thanos did the snap. Everybody disappeared. Black Panther disappeared. Who else disappeared?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man disappeared, and it was like, "Oh, please."
All the Guardians except for Rocket, right?
All the
Oh, yeah,
Guardians
Rocket.
except for Rocket, and Nebula's still alive, even though she's like half a Guardian.
And Gamora, we don't know if
Died.
she disappeared or not.
Yeah.
she
She possibly died forever.
she died in the Soul Stone. She's the one powering the Soul
But
Stone.
they might be able to get her back. I don't fucking know.
That they will.
They will?
They will.
Hell
But
yeah.
isn't
I
well,
believe. I
well,
believe.
well,
We can move on to
yeah.
that. And then beginning of Endgame,
The
just
trailers.
based off of the trailers, what do you guys think is going down?
Oh, probably Hawkeye's family got disappeared.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the first scene.
I feel like that's.
I think it's gonna open because this gets into like where Endgame is gonna start and what you were talking about earlier off of the podcast, which I probably shouldn't have mentioned. But
Just cut that.
we're talking about how potentially the Endgame could pick up right after the events of Infinity War and then move forward onto on like years
Into-
later. So like it'll start pick up right after, show how everyone kind of reacted to the snap, and then it'll be like, okay, like 5 years later or whatever. Probably not that much, probably like a few months, but
It could be a few years.
yeah,
It
I don't know.
It would be a year, maybe a few years. That's what we don't know right now.
Mhm.
But the Russo brothers did say there's going to be a time skip.
But what I'm thinking is
It takes place in two different time periods. At the same
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
so the very first scene will be Hawkeye
In the future.
with his family. No, not
Before
not
the
future.
snap.
Before the snap, and then because that scene where he's like teaching his daughter to shoot the arrow and they're
Yeah.
having like a nice picnic, that's gonna be perfect for everyone to just start disappearing.
Yeah.
Daddy, what's wrong?
Yeah. So that'll probably happen, and then I think that's my like this is getting to like very specific speculations, but
Mhm.
that might be what they use for the time jump is they show that, and then it cuts to it'll say like
6
however
months
many
later, a year later.
months or years later, and then it shows Hawkeye with his new haircut and his Ronin shit.
It could be. I think that it'll definitely do that. That speculation of the whole his family will disappear, and then I'll probably do that whole Marvel thing, like the whole intro
Oh,
that they
yeah,
have,
yeah.
and then it'll jump to Captain America and Black Widow coming back to Avengers headquarters from Wakanda, and they're all looking at the death count. Thor is miserable. Hulk or Banner still having his little moral dilemma, and then they're just trying to figure out like why. So the little spoiler from Captain Marvel, but the after credit scene in that was like a couple
Spoilers.
minutes in Endgame. I already said that. It was a couple
Just in
minutes in
case you didn't
Endgame
hear.
where they found Fury's little watch or little phone thing. I don't know what it's called, but they had little. He was trying to call Captain Marvel. And basically, Captain America and Black Widow found that, and they brought it back to Avengers headquarters, and they were trying to figure out where that signal was going to. And that signal shuts off, and then Captain Marvel shows up, and then boom, that's like basically
And
the
then
whole scene.
Thor's like, I like this one.
Yeah, so in the second trailer,
Oh, yeah,
Thor
that's right,
basically
that's
tries intimidating Captain Marvel, but she isn't phased whatsoever, and that's that. And
Do you sense any romantic interest there?
I could see it. I
I don't think so because I think Thor's gonna die.
don't think Thor's gonna die.
I don't think he's gonna die.
I feel like if they had the idea of that relationship, that he's not gonna die.
I feel like it's because he lost an eye or whatever. I feel like they're gonna do. I think like down the line he's gonna be like the next Odin, kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, maybe.
Because like you give an eye for
Yeah.
wisdom and all that shit from like Norse mythology.
Or what you could also be is if actually I don't think he's gonna die after that short discussion. You've convinced me, but
I have a silver tongue.
no,
damn devil.
I think that if because there's gonna be a handful of surviving members of the Avengers that move on to the next phase.
2 of the original team are going to survive.
How do you know that?
Russo brothers said so.
Oh,
2 of the original team.
4. So there's 6 Avengers from the original movie. Was Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Hawkeye, Thor, and I'm blanking. Did I say Black Widow?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so Black Widow as well. So those are the 6. And the Russo brothers said that 4 of those 6 are dead.
wow.
And I'm not saying that they're going to be gone forever because there's still a possibility.
Probably gonna die.
It's very, very strong possibility. But
Yeah.
also the actors themselves might not be done because of this whole quantum realm thing where they can open different realities.
Yeah.
So the characters themselves from that planet or that universe might be dead, but they could also be brought
Different
back from a
universes.
different reality. So that might be where the
I hope they don't do that because that's over.
no that would definitely be
cool.
like a lady bone killer there. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that would
That'd be very
definitely
comic
ruin it.
booky. That'd be like I think that would be too comic booky for general audiences.
Yeah, I definitely think so too.
Just no, because for the whole emotional purpose, like these are characters that we've been like growing up watching. Because I remember
It's gonna hit you hard.
I
When
was
you lose
I
one.
was in elementary school when the first movie came out. Now I am in college, so
Yeah.
I've definitely grown up with these characters and seeing them build up to this point and then just having them die. I would definitely not want them to come back just for emotional purposes because I'd be like, what's the point of them dying if they're just gonna come back in a different form?
It would also take away any type of
Yep.
character deaths and take away all the stakes for the movies. There'd be no risk.
Basically,
At that point.
so that's why I wouldn't want that to happen.
You
At
really
least
get a
in
sense of
Endgame.
loss for when you actually lose
Yeah.
a character.
Yeah.
But they're also gonna. I mean, it's clear that they're gonna undo the snap and
Save the
bring,
normal
bring back everyone from Infinity War that went
Yes.
away.
So who else disappeared again? It was
So there was Scarlet Witch.
Star-Lord.
Vision got his
Falcon.
forehead smashed in.
yeah, he's
Bucky.
dead.
Falcon and Bucky are
disappeared.
gone.
Spider-Man disappeared.
Black Panther's gone. Spider-Man's gone. All the Guardians, like you said, are gone except for Rocket.
Ant-Man's family disappeared.
Ant-Man's family is gone. Wasp is gone.
Except for
Except for his daughter.
Yeah, except for his daughter.
Because apparently there's a futuristic version of her where she is older and is her own Ant-Woman, I think, or her own Wasp. I'm not sure.
I thought she was just a teenager.
No, she's supposed to have I think she's supposed to have like some sort of superhero role in it.
And these are all. This is all stuff from like the Russo brothers and shit like that.
Yeah, because like they already have the actress like older version like on IMDb. Like that's where like you can tell where most of the actresses and
hired her,
actors
okay.
are, so you can know who's going to be in the.
Well,
film.
there's also there's a good chance that it's a theory, I guess. But Ant-Man, when he comes out of the time vortex,
Yeah, he crawls
or
up
whatever,
Thanos' ass.
Moving on.
but when he comes out, that he's gonna jump into the future because he went in during the snap, and then there's a chance that he's gonna jump out like months after.
Oh, I think
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Because okay, so if
In the microbial world or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
did you see Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so the thing is though, is that the Russo brothers said that some of the footage is fake in the trailers.
Yeah.
So
Good.
if you can remember the first
That's
trailer,
how you
the
do a
first
trailer.
official one was that at the end you can see Ant-Man waiting outside in his like rinky-dink van,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see Steve doesn't have his beard anymore, so you can tell like it's been a few years and there's an obvious time jump. So he could be like showing up years after.
Yeah.
And because you can see all the posters around about missing
Purposely
people.
misleading, yeah.
And I think he's right in front of his ex-wife's house, like because he in that second trailer when he's looking at those missing wanted posters. I
Yeah.
think that's right in front of his ex-wife's house. So
Yeah.
there's definitely going to be like when he comes out, it'll be a few years later.
So I also want to talk about that in the I think it's the second because there's only 2 trailers, right? Like-
There are 4 trailers,
There's 4.
two 30-second ones, and then 2 regular ones.
The whatever I think is the most recent one that was a 2-minute one
Mm-hmm.
where at the end it has Captain America in like the big battle and his face is like literally his entire face is like
Yeah.
black, but then he has his mask on, and then Ant-Man jumps off of a pencil in that same battle. Where do you guys think that takes place? Because
I'm not sure. I think that if there's a pencil, I think it's on Earth. I think something.
But
like
I think they're doing
Thanos
that
and
to be misleading yet again.
This
Because
also
it
could be all
also-
fake footage because that's what Russo Brothers said. So it makes the trailers a little unclear.
But that's a lot of CGI for fake footage. That would
Dude,
take a long time to make for fake
Do you know
footage.
how much money they're expecting to make off this?
Probably a lot.
They're estimated to make either 184, 140,
Something
or
billion?
860. Even though the tickets aren't out for sale yet, they're projected to make 862 million or 842 million on their first weekend. Almost $1 billion in one weekend.
Yeah.
Which they barely reached $1 billion before, or was it $2 billion?
With
Before Infinity War, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they hit $2 billion with it, but they're basically estimated to make $1 billion their first weekend.
Mhm.
Like that, the hype around that they're not worried about money, and
Yeah.
Marvel's put everything that they have into this because this is basically summing up everything that they've
Everything,
done.
Well, not
'Cause-
just Marvel, Disney as well.
well, yeah, but Disney
Disney
they
jumped
have
on
so
later
much
though.
money.
But they have a big part
Yeah.
in all the money that Marvel.
Well, yeah, because only Phase 1 was Paramount. Up until Avengers 1, that's all Paramount, and then after that, it's all Disney.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Okay. Assuming that it's not fake footage.
Assuming that it's not fake footage.
The Ant-Man.
The thing is, though, is that
Captain
they
America.
said...
Pencil.
So it's very hard to take what they're saying now.
The pencil theory.
The pencil theory. They took a pencil all the way to Titan to go
That's
fight
what's
them.
going up Thanos' butt.
Well,
That-
I have a theory that I don't think I've heard it anywhere else. It's something that I came up with that I thought about.
I just realized something. That whole scene. Okay, so there was with Hawkeye running down the tunnel. Someone slowed down the footage and they found Outriders. Those
What the hell's
those weird ass creatures
From
in Wakanda
Wakanda?
that were attacking.
Oh yeah.
He was running away from Outriders in that explosion, like they were in the fire. So I think that since that whole place is on fire, that whole scene they're gonna save Hawkeye from those Outriders. That's where the pencil is. That's where the water is. I think that's all going to be one scene because they said the footage is going to be the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Oh, so all the stuff from the trailer was from the first.
It's going to be the first 15 minutes because they didn't
Makes
want to
sense.
reveal.
Well,
some
that's
How
good.
can that be the? How can what?
That's what makes it a little difficult and like interesting.
Jordan!
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
We're doing a podcast. If you want to hop in.
Oh, we don't have space.
What is the topic?
Marvel.
Marvel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Marvel comics and stuff.
We'll pop in on the
it's
camera
about
really
it's
quick.
about the movies. Just
Yeah,
come in and
see.
say hey. Look right into that,
That
one.
way
or
I
this
don't have
one.
to cut all this stuff out.
Hey.
All right, bye, Jordan.
See you later, bud.
See you.
Was that food?
Yeah.
Nice.
Love that guy.
So,
I definitely am confused on why it's going to be the first 15 minutes.
I
but
think that might be a lie too, because if they're
that could
gonna,
also be. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Like
It's actually the
some-
first
some-
25 minutes.
It could be.
well, I'm just thinking like, there's no way that scene with Captain America tightening his shield and he has all the like dust or whatever it is
Mhm.
on his face, and then has his thing on and he's in like full battle gear and he's freaking out, you know, like straight up like shaking like he's back in World
Yeah.
War II. Like, there's no way that is in the first 15 minutes of the film. I don't think, unless he goes on like after the events of Infinity War, unless he goes on some crazy like mercenary rampage to random places. You
Well,
know,
because he doesn't have his beard. He's got his regular shield
yeah,
back as well. So it's
yeah.
definitely been that like, it's definitely been that year time skip.
yeah.
So
So I don't know, but here's my theory for the pencil thing, and assuming that those two scenes,
I like how we're calling it the pencil thing. Now.
assuming that those two scenes relate to each other, even because they're both pretty just vague battlegrounds. You can't even really see the backgrounds that well.
Yeah,
It's
but-
just the ground is all black and both
And
of them pretty
it's
much.
the
and there's
fire
lots of
as well.
fire,
That's kind
yeah.
of like catching my eye.
So assuming that those two scenes are related to each other, my theory is that because those set photos came out way back
Oh,
before Infinity War even
in
came
New
out
York.
in New York, yeah, I think that they go into the wormhole that Iron Man dropped the nuke into.
Okay.
I think they go into the wormhole to go try and find Thanos before
Oh.
that, and then that would make sense for like office supplies and things getting sucked up there too. And then that battle takes place in the throne room because remember the vision that Tony has, I think in Age of Ultron,
Is all of them?
it's
dead
all of them
on
dead
a
in
throne,
the throne room.
like in a weird throne room with
Yeah.
the Chitauri going towards Earth again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is wow. I can't believe you remembered that one scene.
That'd be really cool.
That
if
would
they
be
actually
that
got
would be
back
a
to that.
visual masterpiece if that was the case because they have brought every little piece from those old movies into one.
It's a lot of planning.
movie.
You need to have a lot of planning like
It's
this.
Yeah.
but the thing is though, it's a 3 hour and 2 minute movie.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of
There's
3
going
hour
to be
films.
so much shit, and that's just the first 15 minutes.
true.
If that's actually true, if that's the first 15 minutes, what the fuck's gonna happen
Yeah.
during the movie?
I'm really
Yeah.
excited to like for this movie to be so long because like back then they used to have a lot of 3 hour films, you
Yeah.
know, and a lot of those films had like intermissions and shit. I don't know if this one's gonna
I
have
don't know.
intermissions.
I've heard that it's not going to.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
But whatever, I love seeing like those epic films,
Yeah.
and I really wish
So-
that they'd do more of that for Avengers in the future for like the big ones. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
But also, I was gonna mention something, but it just left my mind.
Oh, what were we
We were talking about
a few
3
seconds ago?
hours.
No, it was before that.
About the fight scene in Thanos' throne.
Throne Room. Age of
Oh no, it was about the like you saying that it takes years of planning.
Mhm.
I was just gonna comment on that with everything going on right now and all these characters dead, like the entire Guardians of the Galaxy are dead except for Rocket Raccoon, but James Gunn already has a script written for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 that's coming out like
So they brought
5
back
years.
James Gunn. I didn't know this.
Yeah,
They brought back the
James
script
Gunn.
first, and then shortly after, they're like, "All right,
Yeah.
come back," because they realized that
I-
Suicide Squad 2 picked him up like that.
Yeah, I don't think that they ever actually planned to get rid of him. I think
Kevin
they just,
Feige didn't want to. It was the people like above.
Yeah.
That guy's.
you don't like Kevin Feige? I think that they and this is based off of I was listening to a Funhouse podcast and they talked about it a little bit
Okay.
where they were
Funhouse.
they essentially said that what they were theorizing, because these things, like when you get rid of an employee and then you decide to bring them back, that's like you make those decisions especially for big companies like
way
this,
ahead of time.
you make them ahead of time, and so
They fired him for publicity essentially.
yeah,
Or for
and
good.
so the time span that this happened in, they would have had to have fired him and then immediately decided to bring him back within like a week or two, and then announced it to the
I
public.
felt like with all the massive backlash, they went, whoa. We made a mistake, guys. Let's bring him back.
Yeah.
But they wanted to keep it after a while because they didn't want to seem like they didn't want to admit they made the mistake.
Yeah, they didn't
They
want
could
to
have
seem
easily
like
just
exactly
done it
what we're
and
theorizing
problem
about,
solved.
yeah.
But I feel like
That's
they wanted to
kind of
wait
what
it out
corporate always
until they
does.
confirm.
They
Yeah.
refuse to acknowledge when they made mistakes.
Yeah.
Well, because honestly, no one likes acknowledging they made a mistake. Like
But
it
you
takes
need-
a lot of
Look
pride
at
to
EA.
admit that you made a
The
mistake.
company
EA.
is a bunch of people, you know what I'm saying? So
Look at
let's
EA.
look better.
EA.
EA's
Look at
EA never wants to admit it's
They did
Another podcast.
The CEO did.
Another podcast.
I watched a thing where he got interviewed and he was like, he said something along the lines of, we want to be the best game company in the world, and if we're being honest with ourselves, we're not there right now.
You're never gonna be there.
And
They're
yeah,
never
no,
gonna be
they're
there in
gonna
charge.
they're not gonna get there. But I'm just saying, like, that's the closest I've ever seen a CEO to saying like, we messed up and we're not doing things
We're just
correctly.
gonna take a time out on that because we are kind of breaking away from it now.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go back to Marvel.
Fuck EA.
All right. So
Try harder, kids.
So James Gunn's back. What were you saying about the whole Guardians thing? We brought up James Gunn. That hit his script.
Oh, I was just saying that they already have, because they already have the script written for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which isn't. They don't even have a date announced for it. I don't think for when that-
2020 after
oh, it's
Suicide Squad
2020.
2.
That's when it's coming out, or that's
Yeah,
when it's starting
because
filming.
Gunn's already signed on to Suicide Squad 2, and he has like those dates for him already. So after that, then he'll start working on Guardians.
But it's not going to come out in 2020. It's going to come out years later, isn't it?
Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, you're right. It's probably gonna start production in 2020.
But
maybe.
but what I'm saying too is that if James Gunn had that script written before he got fired, and that happened a long time ago, and then so he probably had that script written before Infinity War even came out,
Oh, definitely.
or he was at least
Yeah,
working on
he
it
had
before.
to. He had to have had it because
And so
the script was announced right after the movie came out.
yeah, so they plan these things like years in advance.
Sometimes it's just kind of like some things just kind of slip in
Yeah,
that are new that they have to adjust for. Like I'm pretty sure that Captain Marvel wasn't something they were planning, and I don't think Black Panther was something that they were
No,
planning.
Feige said he wanted to bring Captain Marvel in for Age of Ultron, or like they were
Oh, so
wanting to
he
bring
had it in mind
her
for a
in for
while.
Age of Ultron, but that wouldn't have made sense.
I don't think they slip things in. I think they have things in mind for what they want to do, and then
And if
whenever
time is right, that's when they're
Yeah,
like, okay, we
yeah.
can bring it in.
That's
Yeah,
why,
yeah.
like, with how Thanos is and how the Russo brothers have made him like so powerful, because like he's already tough enough without the gauntlet, but now he's virtually,
He's virtually
unstoppable.
God, yeah.
So having Captain Marvel in as an extra muscle is definitely going to be necessary, because she's probably going to get tossed around as much as the other Avengers,
yeah.
because she is not nearly as powerful as Thanos is.
They should have brought her in earlier.
So that being said, who do you think the strongest Alone
Thor.
Avenger is.
As of right now,
I
in the
think
MCU,
Thor or
Captain Marvel is for.
Well, that's because they want her to be.
But
the
that, it's
lead.
exactly. But Thor in the comics
Is
is
fucking OP.
virtually or far more powerful than Captain Marvel is. Like, period. There are a lot of more powerful
Yeah, he has, like,
heroes
a
than
belt
Captain
that
Marvel.
allows him to harness the power of like 1,000 suns or some shit like that. It's
Yeah,
fucking weird.
if they didn't want to do the Odin Force because that's he'd be invincible with it, but the Odin Force basically he is a god times 10, so he can take on Thanos by himself if he had it.
Well, he damn near did in Infinity War.
That was Rooster Brothers said that only because Thanos was caught off guard by the axe and
yeah.
by its power that he didn't know how to react to it. But
Mhm.
now that he knows that Thor has that axe, that it's gonna be different.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that makes sense, I guess.
So anyway, let's just reiterate. So who do we think for sure is gonna die?
I think that Black Widow and Hawkeye are for sure donezo.
Really?
Yes, and then Hulk as well.
Really?
Yes,
Even with Black Widow solo movie coming out.
that's gonna be a prequel
Yeah, it's gonna be a prequel, but why would they come out with the solo movie for a dead character?
because they want us to like take away from more of the
Nostalgia or something?
conventional hero. They want to go for a more covert spy sort of thing. And then because she has like a really dark history and how she was a stone cold killer, and you could tell in Avengers like she was supposed to be killed by Hawkeye, but Hawkeye decided to save her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
That's why
I think it's
kinda
gonna
like
be a more of
father,
a,
like mentor figure or some shit for her.
it's definitely gonna be like an anti-hero thing, and they're gonna like explore like what she's done these bad things, and now she's seeing a taste of good.
I really hope they do her justice. I really hope they do.
I really hope that they can
really
do
well.
that movie.
I
really
want them
well.
to do it like how they did Wonder Woman, but not Wonder Woman.
It will not be on the same
No, of
volume.
course
There's a
not.
lot.
It's definitely gonna be a different type of movie, but I want them to do justice to her character
Yes.
like it did to Wonder Woman's character.
Definitely,
You know
I
what I'm
agree with you on that one.
Is that movie rated R or is it rated PG-13?
They said that there was no like thought of it being a rated R movie. Like that was just a rumor.
saying? Yeah,
and
once
that
it's rated
whoever
R,
said
you're
that-
you're limiting it so that kids can't
Yeah.
watch it and shit like
Yeah.
that, which is bullshit
So-
because people went out to watch Deadpool. I watched
Yeah.
it with my 6-year-old nephews, and they're like, "Oh, Deadpool's dead poop jokes."
I think Black Widow will be a very violent movie for what it is. I think it'll be on the verge because I know that the comics are pretty dark. And I
know a
really
little
wanted
bit
it to
about
be
that.
rated R because it would have been definitely nice to see like how she turned into this like dark, or she was this dark person into like a lighthearted hero. But it's definitely not going to happen. They're going to go PG-13 with it.
But with I think there might be a chance. I mean, maybe not. But with them getting the Fox properties and everything, and how Wolverine, like, if they even decide to go with Wolverine,
They
have
definitely
to-
will. They have to because Wolverine's one of the most iconic X-Men characters.
yeah,
But see, they had Once Upon a Deadpool, which did you hear about?
it was PG-13.
It was PG-13, and that apparently was better than the second one.
Which
like
really?
they said that was more enjoyable to
Well,
watch.
the second
than
one wasn't very. The second one, honestly, I didn't think the second one was good.
Yeah.
It had a different director.
Yeah.
They focused more on like trendy jokes. The second
Yeah.
one was kind of trash.
So it's the PG-13 Deadpool. Deadpool is Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds, and honestly, it could be a G movie as long as Ryan Reynolds is in it. It will
Yeah.
fucking be amazing.
Well, the thing is with the character Deadpool, if you make it a PG-13 movie, then all you have to do when something R is going to happen is have him walk over to the camera and like
Yeah,
push
yeah,
it to the
exactly,
side,
something
and then
like
he's
that.
like, "This is going to happen off screen because of laws."
I mean, they did that in
Hold
the
up a
first
piece of
Deadpool.
paper
Remember?
to cover the gore.
Yeah.
or something
They
like
did that in
that.
the first Deadpool when he threw that dude in the car. He says, "This is gonna get a little nasty" or something like that. He put the camera away, and then he basically just started killing that dude.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
remember
they-
I don't
that
remember
that
that.
happened, but it was still a rated R movie. But he did that, so I could see that happening.
Yeah.
One of the funniest scenes in that film was when he knifes off his own hand or something.
Yeah, and then it was just flipping him off.
Oh,
I thought that was definitely one of the funniest parts is when he was trying to beat up Colossus, but he just broke every single limb.
Yeah.
Or
All
when,
dinosaurs
oh yeah,
share
that
the
was
T-Rex.
hilarious. I was so.
See, that's just Ryan Reynolds, though. I feel like
Yeah.
because you can tell with some of the audio in that movie that because some of it is higher, like a little higher pitched than the audio that's in that scene. That Ryan Reynolds records stuff after the scene, like after they already recorded the scene.
Yeah.
So like they just like put it over since he's got a mask on and it's
Yeah.
just moving. Like you can add whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's what they do for like Spider-Man and stuff like that too.
it's
Any
easier to do with
character that has
masked
a mask
heroes.
over their mouth. Yeah. But
Hey, real quick, get a load of this. I just found something talking about Thor's just strength alone. Thor has proven capable of several acts of vast physical strength, including stalemating the Hulk in battle for an hour. He broke the Silver Surfer's force field with a single blow, knocked out Namor with a single blow.
Mhm.
He's effortlessly defeated the Bi-Beast, Red Hulk, and Gladiator. I don't even fucking know what half this shit is, but like,
Yes.
But that's comic book.
that's comic book.
That's
store.
comic
I'm
book
just saying.
store. That's
They
That's
had
what
to
I'm
nerf
saying,
him for
like,
the films.
Captain Marvel. She is strong, but she is not as strong as other heroes as
She's not
much
even as
they're
popular
she's
as the other
made out
heroes
to be.
was.
Well, Thor is also he's slowly getting stronger.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
like, throughout each of his.
Well,
movies.
because in Thor Ragnarok, he finally realized his potential with lightning, which is only a fraction of his power. Because like once Odin like dies in the comics, all the Odin force goes to his next born, which is Thor, and he becomes
Loki
the next
died.
king of Asgard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Loki's actually dead? This
Yes.
time?
He's pulling another prank.
No,
I'm playing.
I mean, Tom Hiddleston is done because he doesn't want to be
Yeah.
a part of that
Oh,
anymore.
really?
Yeah.
He's not just done. He's done.
But Loki could, I guess Loki could come back. Like he tries to hide himself as someone else, and then Thor finds him later on, and be like, "What the fuck again?"
He like sniffs him out in a crowd.
Yeah.
Loki.
Or he just can tell because like Thor can see right through Loki's magic
Yeah.
now. So it's just like if he's trying to cover himself up as someone, then
Yeah.
he can be like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, he's probably dead.
But
so-
they're doing a mini series of Loki when he was younger.
On
and it's not Tom Hiddleston playing.
No.
it?
as a film.
It's
or
gonna
as a
be a
series?
younger. It's gonna be a younger Loki. It's gonna be one of those mini
Series.
series like on the Disney streaming service. There's gonna be a Scarlet.
They're starting.
There's gonna be
bunch of-
Scarlet Witch and a Vision. So I'm guessing it's about their
Oh,
relationship.
do you guys think
And then-
that Quicksilver's gonna come back?
Yeah.
Hope so.
I honestly think that he is going to be the next villain in the next Avengers movie.
Really?
Yeah.
No. Quicksilver, not Silver.
Oh, Quicksilver. Oh, I thought so.
Quicksilver.
You're right. I always confuse those characters every time. And
Silver
I,
Surfer's the straight up silver.
Silver
He's got
Surfer.
the fucking.
I do.
surfboard.
he's gonna be the next villain for
Yeah.
the new Avengers. Quicksilver, yes, but he will not be. Who is the actor that played him?
Is that little white
like
dude?
Yeah, I definitely
I don't
think
know.
that's not gonna be
Yeah, let me see.
him at all.
Continue though.
I feel like
well, because if they're gonna do, because there's like everything, all the evidence is kind of pointing
Aaron
to
Taylor Johnson.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's a good actor because he was in Kick-Ass. He's a good actor.
all of the evidence aside from like the stuff that the trailers and the actual marketing is actually releasing, all of the leaked evidence is pointing towards all of the Avengers going back through time and collecting the Infinity Stones from each
Mhm.
spot when they know where they are before they get to Thanos.
Yeah.
And then coming back and fighting him. That's what all the evidence is pointing to. But I've heard it like a lot of people are saying like, oh, they're just trying to like mislead us with that too, you know?
I definitely think they are because
But that
What
would
I would-
also be the most basic plot too.
yeah,
that would be
that's
the
what.
most
That's why I don't think it's
straightforward.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
because people already predicted that, and the Russo brothers have proven everyone wrong time and time again.
Yeah.
So I don't know because I don't think that. I think that's gonna be where it's centered around, but I don't think that they're gonna make their own Infinity Gauntlet and all that jazz. I feel like they're just gonna take like one or two stones and then try and use that to their advantage.
So if they do get Infinity Stones, who is going to be the one that wields them?
I would think it would have to be Captain Marvel or Thanos, or not Thanos, Iron Man.
What about Thor?
I don't think they'll let Thor do that because like you already gave him a new weapon that's all powerful.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna give him another one?
Well,
And it's all about will as well. Like it's about
Yeah,
a
I
will
guess
thing because
that's true,
Thanos is only is the strongest. He's like the most.
Wouldn't they
willful
want
one
Captain
to
America
use
to do it then though? Wouldn't it make sense for him to be the
it.
character?
He could probably use it once, but that could also be a way he dies.
That's
That
what I'm
he
saying.
uses it to undo the snap, but then it was so much for him that he just dies.
Yeah, he dies there and he sacrifices his life
Yeah.
to bring all the
So
people
yeah,
back.
he could use it, but
think that'd be really
for
cool.
continuous uses, Captain Marvel for how they've made her out to be,
Yeah.
she will probably use it, or Iron Man because he can just integrate it into his suit, and then he could just use it like that. Because there is a
How-
Thanos Buster armor with all the stones.
however, I think that if anyone's going to make the sacrifice play, it's going to be Tony Stark.
I think it'll be Tony Stark as well.
Because that's literally his whole character. Like, literally in the first Avengers, Iron Man's like, you're not the one to make the sacrifice play, and then he makes the sacrifice play.
And then-
so I think that's going to be, like, it's going to be the final one where he actually... Because he's done it multiple times now.
Also, because Robert Downey Jr. just doesn't want to fucking play.
That's not
Iron
true.
Man anymore.
He said he still wants
He
to be a
does
part
want
of
to
it.
be
He
Iron
said he
Man?
wants to
He's
be
just
part
old.
of it, like kind of like how he was in Spider-Man: Homecoming. I think that's how he wants to do it, where he just pops in, helps everyone out a little bit, and then he leaves.
As like a mentor.
Yeah,
Oh,
as a
cameo.
mentor thing. So I
Also,
don't think he's gonna be
though,
a main character anymore.
There's a rumor going around that they're gonna release another Spider-Man Homecoming trailer, or not Homecoming, Far From Home trailer after
Endgame, because it has
Endgame
Endgame
comes out, because of
spoilers.
that spoiler. What I think that spoiler is that Tony Stark is dead, because Tony Stark is such a big part of
Spider-Man.
MCU Spider-Man. And I think that that's what is going to be. Also, if you don't like MCU Spider-Man because he's Tony Stark Jr., you're a fucking idiot, because that's his whole fucking character arc, is that he's reliant on Iron Man, and then he learns to work for himself and be his own person, and that's going to be continue to be his character arc until he
I've never
becomes
even heard that
adult.
But then Nick Fury comes out of nowhere and gives him a new suit.
That's true. But I get so frustrated when people get upset. Like, just enjoy the fucking movie. Just be happy that Spider-Man's on the big screen. Like, fuck off.
Well, I mean, like,
Quick
Tony
note,
Stark
this guy's
took
the
his suit away
biggest
from-
Spider-Man fan.
yeah, he's a
of
big
all
Spider-Man
time.
fan. I don't know if those are in the shop, but those are all his. Like,
yeah, we've got Spider-Man, PS4 Spider-Man. We have Spider-Man
just take one and
PS4
show
Spider-Man, a different one. We have Peter Parker from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We have Miles Morales from Spider-Verse. We have Miles Morales from the Spider-Man PS4 game.
There's Mickey for some reason.
Yeah, Mickey from
Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts, and then Mr. Negative from Spider-Man PS4,
Nathan
and
Drake.
then Nathan Drake, and then I have a few more Spider-Man ones at home that we couldn't fit up there.
so basically, 6 out of those 8 up there are Spider-Man.
Wow, I'm terrible at math. I couldn't even count.
All right, moving on from that. But like, you can't say that he is like a Tony Stark's child or whatever, like Tony Stark Jr. or whatever
Tony
the fuck,
Stark
because Tony Stark took all his shit, all his shit back from Peter, and then he
Well,
managed to defeat Vulture.
That's literally what his character arc was in that
Yeah.
movie, is that he was
So-
relying on Tony Stark too much.
So I don't
And
think
then
people
Tony
think
Stark yeeted all the shit out from under
So
him.
he'd be independent.
And literally, yeah, and then he's independent. And then literally at the end of the film, Tony Stark's like, here's the Iron Spider suit. You're going to be an Avenger now. And then he's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then it literally ends with him rejecting Tony Stark.
well,
and
that
saying, I'm gonna
was
be my own
Spider-Man in the
person."
comics as well, was that
Mhm.
he saved the Avengers.
Well, that's what a lot
from-
of people point to when they make fun of Tom Holland's Spider-Man and not Tony Stark's Spider-Man, and MCU Spider-Man in general, is that Spider-Man's supposed to be like a lone wolf character, kind of.
He is.
And he is, but he's a lone wolf in the sense that he doesn't work with people a lot, but not in the sense that he's not willing to work with people.
Well, actually, he's not even a lone wolf, because when he first starts out, yes, he's a lone wolf, but then he joins the Future Foundation,
Yeah.
which is basically another version of the Fantastic Four, and then he joins the Avengers, and then I think he's assisted the Guardians of the Galaxy
Yeah.
time and time again. So he's not just an
He's-
individual player. That's what he's famous for,
Yeah.
because he's fought like the Sinister Six major villains
Yeah.
by himself.
Yeah.
That I could see why they want them to be a lone wolf, but you can't say he is one.
I always
because
kind of
he
saw
definitely
Spider-Man as somebody that tends to like clean up the local problems of New York and shit like
He's
that.
a small scale.
Yeah, he
villain.
does that.
Or small scale hero.
hero,
Sorry.
yeah. And I kind of like that a lot about him. Is that
That's
he's-
what Spider-Man: Homecoming was kind of focusing on, because you can kind of see that at the beginning, was that like people were calling up to him and like he was just trying to help someone find their bike or some shit
Yeah,
like that.
See, that's why
Yeah.
one of the cool things that you don't really see with a lot of the other superheroes is
Yeah.
people are always calling Spider-Man Spidey, you know,
Mhm.
because he's like the local hero. He's the
Yeah.
person that saves the cat from the tree and also
Absolutely.
fucking beats up the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's like the that scene where he's like, "Hey, you're that spider guy.
Yeah, that's-
Do a flip."
Yeah,
and then he
that's-
does a
that's
flip,
also
and he's
what I
like,
was talking
"Yeah."
It's like in Spider-Man the new game, right? If you can like take pictures of people. on
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
streets, it's really
exactly.
cool.
That's something that's iconic to Spider-Man. He's not like this big like superstar like Tony Stark.
He's like
just local
a guy that just happens to go out like he's like a weekend warrior or some shit like that.
However, I will say one thing that I don't like about MCU Spider-Man is how willing he is to reveal his identity to people.
Yeah, I'm Tom Holland.
And
well,
it's
Peter
because
Parker,
it's Tom Holland,
He
and Tom
revealed it
Holland's
to
supposed to get FaceTime and
a
everything.
couple people.
Yeah,
It
but
was
like
Happy Iron Man, then Doctor Strange only because of circumstance. Like they needed to know who he was working with. Like you don't want this ominous teenager
yeah, I guess
to
that's
like
true.
so.
But then also the Guardians, like, and it's not even like a big thing when he
Guardians
reveals it
aren't
to
on
the
Earth.
Guardians.
That's like they're not gonna go around saying, "Hey, I met this man spider over here." Like,
yeah,
that's not,
but it's just because that's a big part of his thing is that he tells his characters he tells very few people.
there is. I read something on Instagram that there was someone that was disappointed with the fact that in Marvel people aren't calling them by their hero names anymore. Like you don't see like, "Oh, hey, Iron Man," you hear, "Oh, it's Stark" when you see Iron Man fly by.
Yeah,
Like it's the MCU is more focused on the person themselves more than the hero
Yeah.
that they.
well,
are
they
out to be.
decided to do away with secret identities
Yeah.
in the first Iron Man, and actually, fun fact. The line where Tony Stark says "I am Iron," well, Robert Downey Jr. says "I am Iron Man." That was ad-libbed by, or not ad-libbed. It was improvised by.
Ad-libbed works too.
In the comics, Iron Man was originally like the guardian of Tony Stark, which I was never interested in because like I did not like how they did that. there was like an animated Avengers where basically no one knew who Iron Man was, and like it was like just Tony Stark's guardian or whatever. And it's definitely better that Robert Downey Jr. improvised that part where he says "I am Iron Man," because it's just he is Iron Man, and like seeing him as a guardian, he's not really that special of a hero, and you can definitely tell like in Iron Man 2, just the opening sequence when he lands in as Iron Man, that was epic as hell.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that with certain characters that secret identities are more important too, like Spider-Man.
That's true. Captain America, no one knew who his identity was. They just knew him as Captain America.
Oh yeah, I guess
They didn't know him as Steve Rogers as some scrawny kid. They just like assumed
because he was like his project was like a secret American project.
Yeah,
or
it was a
from the World
USSR
War II.
thing that no one knew about.
But I don't know. It's for certain. Like I get like in comic books, like everybody has their secret identity, and no one knows who anybody is except for like the heroes that are really close with each other.
Clark Kent is Spider-Man and all that shit.
Yeah.
How it's obvious it is. Oh, put my glasses on.
No, put my glasses. Well, he does that, and then he hunches over a little bit, and then he like fucks up his hair, and that's basically like how he changes himself.
I didn't know about that stuff.
Yeah, There's
There's
a lot about the DC universe. Fun fact: Stan Lee actually made Superman what he is today.
Yeah.
Basically, that lovable, iconic hero. Made most of the DC heroes. Like, you can cut that part out. It's irrelevant. But
okay,
all right. So
let's
we're gonna
get back on track.
We're gonna go back to Endgame and basically.
I was gonna share my theory real quick about how, because I thought really a theory. It just seems so like they bring in Bucky, who's essentially the Winter Soldier and all that shit. I always kind of thought that they were waiting for the right time to kill Captain America, so they could replace him with Bucky or the other guy, Falcon. Yeah.
That there are two comic interpretations of both of them being Captain America, but Steve comes back because no one else can be Captain America besides him.
Until he dies.
But when Bucky is a much darker version because he uses guns, he's willing to kill and all that stuff. But he has the shield. He has more black look. Falcon is probably the more realistic Captain America. If we're talking like he changes his whole apparel to blue, red, and white. He has the shield with him, and it's. Yeah.
I think it's more likely that Falcon will take over in the MCU. That Falcon will take over.
I hope it's Bucky because I just feel like
that would be.
I think Bucky's just too dark.
I don't mind.
I feel like Bucky's gonna be like, I can't do this.
I feel like Bucky's gonna change once his best friend, the greatest the person that gave him redemption, Captain America's best friend dies. He'll feel like he needs to fill that hole and like change as a character and become
maybe eventually. But I think if Captain America dies, I think the first person that's gonna take it over is Sam.
Falcon.
Sam Falcon, whatever.
I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But going back to Endgame, you brought up who we thought we were going to die. I said mine. I don't remember if you guys said yours.
I didn't say mine.
Yeah, so
Captain America.
I basically said I only got through three of them that you guys brought up. So I think Thor and Iron Man are going to live. All four of those. Everybody else is going to die.
And you think Iron Man's going to die?
I think Iron Man's going to die for sure.
All right, then bring up who's going to live.
I think that Hulk and actually maybe Hulk. It's very very hard maybe for that, and I'll explain why in a second. But maybe Hulk and then Thor, and then either Hawkeye or Black Widow.
Well, there's only two that are going to be standing.
That's what I'm saying. It's either going to be Hawkeye or Black Widow, and then I think Thor will live because of what we talked about. And then a fat ass maybe. I think. Well, okay. Let me say. I think that either Black Widow's gonna die or Hawkeye's gonna die. One of those two.
Real quick, what do you guys think of Hawkeye's new haircut?
It's fine.
It's fine. I don't care for it too much.
I feel like it should have been long, like really long hair.
No, I feel like that would have been overdoing it.
I think it should have been like a long
It's definitely
hair.
fine where it is.
I think it would have been way cooler. Are you saying?
Going back.
And then and actually. I think it'll most likely be Black Widow that survives just because they're doing her solo movie. I don't see them making a solo movie for a dead character.
I mean, if it's a prequel, I could see why that's okay for her to die. But why would you? I think Black Widow is going to die because they have Captain Marvel as the leading female character now. Because like you have Black Widow who has been the leading female character in the MCU, and now you have Captain Marvel who's basically going to overshadow Black Widow. So why would you keep her there?
But who's to say they can't have two?
Yeah.
You could have
and
two.
I prefer Black Widow to Captain Marvel.
I know your reasoning behind it. I'm not gonna say it, but
she's a good character,
I think Black Widow's a better character in terms of the character, especially with
she's a more established character, so we say that she is better. Captain Marvel has only been in one movie so far,
but
so
it was her solo movie. Black Widow hasn't had a solo movie,
and yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I've grown attached to Black Widow from nothing else, essentially, just from
Yeah.
cameos and just random
But
support stars.
okay, let me explain why I think Hulk maybe live, and it's a fat ass maybe. Because of the rights of the character and everything. Because you know how they haven't been able to make a solo Hulk movie since.
I think
Edward
I
Norton.
thought they did that because no one wanted it.
Is that why? I thought it was a character. It was a.
No, 'cause
who owned the character?
Paramount sold their rights to Disney, and like all of the Marvel rights are under Disney's name besides Sony now.
Oh.
So it's not Hulk. No one wanted a Hulk movie after the disaster of Edward Norton.
That was a disaster. I always remembered it being pretty good.
Because I just remember.
But I watched it when I was a kid. What made it bad?
It was just how they made Hulk, and I didn't. It was Hulk is supposed to be like more mindless, but then he sees what's her face,
the female lead.
He sees the female lead, and then all of a sudden you see the humanity in him. But usually when you see the humanity in Hulk, he goes back to Banner. So like, I didn't like how they made Hulk more human.
What I'm thinking is because those people are speculating that I forget what the name of the character is, but the version of Hulk where he has Banner's mind but Hulk's strength.
Professor Hulk,
sure.
That's why. That's also what I'm just thinking about, because they're gonna bring those two together.
Yeah.
Maybe he will survive, and like Professor Hulk will be the one.
We were starting to see like the beginnings of that with Hulk being able to speak in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, that's why. Like that's the Hulk that I needed. Like, not the mindless beast. Because Hulk is funny. Like, in and of himself. Like if you see the cartoons, you can see him. His comedy and how he is different from Banner.
Yeah.
But then in the first two Avengers, you just see him smashing shit, which is. It's alright, but then I also wanted to see a little more of Hulk himself and his personality instead of him just being the Beast.
Well, that's why I think he'll be alive, because I think he still has a lot of room to grow. Yeah, and so that's why I think it makes sense for them to kill off. This is just going off of characters and where they can go with the characters. Mm-hmm. It makes sense to get rid of Iron Man and Captain America because they don't really have anywhere else to go besides just having them become like leadership
and retire,
like grandfather roles, but Hawkeye, Black Widow, Hulk, Thor, and I think that's all of them, right?
Yeah.
They all have room.
I definitely think Hawkeye's gonna die because either his daughter is going to take over the role or Kate Bishop's gonna take over the role.
Kate Bishop,
yeah, is basically like the female version of Hawkeye.
What about well, I heard speculation that his daughter was gonna become like Kate Bishop.
So Catherine Langford, the chick from 13 Reasons Why, is being brought into the movie, and they thought she was gonna be Kate Bishop. Her role is still unknown at this point. But I don't know why they brought her in, but I definitely think that you're right that the daughter will be.
Yeah. But I think if Hawkeye dies, I guess that would make sense. But I also kind of want to, this is going off the assumption that his family dies right in the beginning of the movie. I hope that he gets his like redemption moment and like his revenge moment, at least before he dies. And that's also the reason that I think he might live, is because if Hawkeye dies, and he doesn't get his redemption moment, that would kind of suck. And it would be kind of a letdown. There is a lot of like payoffs that they're gonna have to write in with this movie, and all of them pretty much revolve around Thanos and character payoffs. I mean, like setting something up and then paying it off. Oh, okay. And all of them pretty much revolve around all of them.
He's rubbing his nipple.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm just playing.
I can't control him.
Sorry, Jensen
popped
our man Jensen is.
Come in and say hey with your nipples out.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah, this will turn into a very different video if he steps in. Yeah, go back.
Because they have to. They did a pretty good job of it in Infinity War, but they have to have all these different characters get their moment of like revenge or redemption, and it all pretty much revolves around Thanos.
I feel like they're all gonna line up and like just bitch slap him, and then there's gonna be one person that finishes.
Well, do you think Thanos is gonna die though?
Because I feel like every single character in this movie has a reason to go after Thanos. Nebula has hated Thanos from the beginning, so you already know that she's gonna go after him. Rocket lost his family. He's always been running away. Besides from Groot, he's always been running and on the run. So now you see like his family was taken from him. The people that he settled with, he's gonna be fucking pissed. Yeah. War Machine, he doesn't really have as much of a motive as the other characters, but I could see him being pissed as well. And then just the main 6 Avengers, basically everyone that they thought was family, like Bucky's gone, Falcon's gone, Scarlet Witch is gone, Iron Man lost his son, his protege, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it's every single character has a reason to go after Thanos. So,
well, I think they'll probably have some sort of scene that's similar to the battle on Titan, where all of the characters were teaming
One
up
by
on
one.
him, and it was just like Spider-Man jumped out of a portal, then
Yeah.
Star-Lord like hit him, and then whatever else, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, okay.
And then they all kind of like teamed up on him,
Mhm.
and then finally it got. And actually, I think it might play out very similar to the battle on
Having to
Titan,
team up to
where
fight
where
strategize and
it's a team up, and then
Well,
at
they
the
have
end,
to. They can't take them on one-on-one.
Yeah.
The Russo brothers have proven that time and time again.
but then at the end, it's gonna be a situation probably with Tony Stark still, especially with the vision that he had where everyone was
Yeah.
dead, where it's Tony Stark one-on-one with Thanos.
Well, Tony Stark's getting a new armor.
Mhm.
That's practically like the stronger version of the nano suit.
Yeah.
So
And
will be-
he held his own.
He
against
did,
Thanos
yeah.
for
Even
a
with
little
his
while.
weaker version.
Yeah.
I mean, Thanos did kind of just rip off
Doctor
his helmet with
Strange
his
is
bare
gone too,
hands,
huh?
though,
Yeah.
without the stone. So I guess that the armor is.
But that's
stronger,
where I think Tony Stark might die for real this time,
possibly
because he would have died if it wasn't for Doctor Strange.
if it wasn't for Doctor Strange, yeah.
And I remember sitting in the theater, the guy next to me when Tony Stark, spoiler, when Tony Stark gets stabbed in the stomach, the guy next to me, because we were sitting in the recliner chairs, I just see the guy next to me, his feet are just like, and he's like moving around. And I was like, oh fuck.
You know, I honestly freaked out when I saw that too, because I'm like, no.
Yeah, I
but
thought he
I
died,
also had
yeah.
like a weird feeling that something like that was gonna happen. But I'm just like, no. I was just saying that in my head repeatedly.
How does Tony Stark get back? Because like they ended the trailer, he's in space. Hardly.
He's in
We
space.
don't know yet. Yeah.
Based in the second 30
That's what I'm
or the
asking, what
first
do you guys
30-second trailer, they see him and Nebula kind of just going at it in their lab or whatever the fuck. Like
Yeah,
they're just trying
working
to.
on something.
So they're definitely. I feel like they're gonna repair the ship for like one last jump back to Earth, and they're gonna come crash landing right in front of
Probably.
Avengers HQ. I think that's how that's gonna go down.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
was
Or
it
they'll
what
just
was
crash
asking?
land anywhere, and then it'll just cut to them arriving at
Well,
the
'cause
Avengers
you
HQ.
remember, whoever is on Earth right now, they're all looking up in the air at something. And I think that's going to be Iron Man and Nebula coming crash landing,
Oh, yeah.
because
So-
they're also using the ship on Earth. Like there's some footage about like Hawkeye and Black Widow having some weird moment in the second trailer,
Oh, yeah.
and you can see the inside of the Guardian ship, but it's on Earth if you look out the windows.
Okay.
So they're gonna definitely use that ship more often.
I'm gonna have to rewatch the trailer because I only like glazed over it.
Yeah, I don't look too in depth on trailers like that. I have the comic
Yeah.
pages on my
They-
phone that do
they've
most
said-
of that stuff for me.
Like you said, they were purposely trying to put misleading footage in it so
Yeah,
that people
that's-
wouldn't be able to assume what's going
Mhm.
on.
Yeah.
All right.
So what did you want to ask me? Well, who's gonna die?
Who do you think's gonna survive? There's only 2 of the original team. Who do you
I
think's gonna
think
survive?
Thor's probably gonna survive, and I think Hulk is probably gonna survive.
All right. And also, Chris Hemsworth said that he did not want to be a part of the MCU anymore after Thor Ragnarok, but after how much fun he had but this is like long before, like right after Dark World, I'm pretty sure.
He decided he
But
wanted to stick around.
Yeah, after Ragnarok, he's like, if they let me be this type of character, because most of his stuff was ad libbed, like that was all him.
Yeah.
So if they let him do his thing, because he's a pretty funny dude outside of the
Yeah,
script.
he is. Him,
Yeah.
all of his brothers supposedly
Yeah.
are like really fucking chill dudes.
Yeah. So if they let him be that, then I can see Thor being a major part in the MCU, because they want to go more space related.
Yeah.
I'm gonna transition to our next part here. What's gonna happen after Endgame? Because there are only a few movies confirmed. But
And what do you want to see, real quick, happen?
Well, I think
I'm gonna get into that, but basically Kevin Feige said they're gonna try and go for a more cosmic look. Like Guardians was only like the tip of the iceberg
Yeah.
when it came to space, so
I
they're
was
gonna go.
expecting that too.
They're gonna go more into the cosmic, and I think Thor will be
Elder
like, great
gods
ushering
and shit
that.
like that, whatever those terms.
Oh,
were.
the Eternal movies, which is gonna be a prequel movie because it's set before Iron Man and all that shit. But what were you gonna say?
I think going forward, because they have to raise the stakes, and the next thing after Thanos,
Galactus.
Yeah.
Galactus, the World Eater,
Yeah.
which is. I'm
That's a
hoping
scary
they'll
name.
somehow tie that into the scrolls.
Because I
past.
heard a theory about that they were saying that all the events going on in Infinity War it's gonna because there's gonna be like time jumps, and there's gonna be the use of all the Infinity Stones in one area, and like all these things that are happening on a that are just all these huge events happening.
It's gonna draw
in this-
Galactus in.
It's gonna draw. He's gonna notice
because he's
it.
noticing all this energy is
Yeah.
happening here. That could be a possibility. I also just think that Galactus, whatever happens in that snap, like I feel like Galactus was imprisoned somewhere, like he's just off somewhere, but once the snap undoes everything, he's like, there are 2 snaps with that, which is kind of going off of what you're saying. There are 2 snaps, and he's like, I need to see what's going on here. So he sends out Silver Surfer and all his other heralds, because he has like 4 other heralds besides Silver Surfer. But I definitely think that whoever his heralds are going to be the next villain in the next Avengers movie.
What are the other heralds?
I
Silver
forgot.
Surfer.
I don't know.
Because I think they might go with one of those instead of Silver Surfer, since the Silver Surfer was used in the old Fantastic Four, and they wouldn't want to.
I feel like they would do it because like they want to. Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four was not bad.
No,
But
he was
wasn't
actually kind of cool.
He was probably the highlight of that movie.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't saying because he's bad. I'm just saying because they have a history of picking characters that haven't been used yet.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I thought that's why I'm saying like they'll probably bring all of them in because like they're strong. The Silver Surfer is definitely the strongest one because he breaks free of Galactus's hold by himself. But the other heralds, I think that it would definitely be like kind of like how the Black Order is, like Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive, those people that are hunting Vision and Scarlet Witch, like that whole team of them. It'll definitely be like Avengers versus that like team that they have there.
Well, they could set it up in a way because the Black Order or whatever was only in Infinity War. They could set up the next phase in a way where each movie, like each Avengers movie, is them fighting one of the heralds.
It could be, yeah, it could be.
Or like one or 2 of the heralds.
And also, Ultron is set to come back.
Hopefully he's not
Really?
a fucking pushover again.
I hope that he's gonna be more machine-like than human because I didn't like how they did that.
I liked his voice. I just didn't like.
because
the way they did his
isn't it James
character.
Spader? Like, that was the voice, right? James
I
Spader.
don't remember.
I forget, but that he's just a phenomenal actor himself. I feel like just they humanized Ultron too much with like the eyes.
He didn't even really feel. He wasn't a very intimidating villain.
No,
my
he
opinion.
wasn't.
Like, I mean, obviously,
because
everyone.
they-
It's
he
kind of the
short-sold
general.
him.
He was when he was like broken Iron Man. You remember that when he was first introduced, he was
Yeah.
intimidating. But then you see him in that. It's because he was humanized. You see that
Yeah.
other armor, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
honestly ruined that character.
Age of Ultron
Should have been great.
was definitely the weakest Avengers
film.
movie.
Mhm.
I agree.
But I don't. I think he'll probably play a big role because I don't think they would have had an entire Avengers movie about Ultron and then have him shut out like that if it wasn't gonna cause something later.
He
you
could
know?
also be the next big bad because Ultron does kill everyone on Earth except for like a handful of humans, and he basically turns the whole Earth into a giant machine.
Really.
In like the new Avengers, basically the son of Captain America and Black Widow, the son of Black Panther and Storm.
Captain America and Black Widow bang.
Apparently, in some universe, yeah. But basically, like the kids of the Avengers, they all come together and they fight Ultron with the help of old Iron Man and old Hulk. They bring down Ultron and they like restore the world to what it was before. But that's them as teenagers, so that could possibly be how they go down. Like instead of those kids, of course, they could do like Spider-Man, Doctor Strange versus Ultron.
All right, so to push forward on the topic, what stories, just real quick, do you want to be seen after this whole thing, this whole arc finishes?
I definitely would like to see another Black Panther because I really want to see Killmonger again, and I feel like with the snap undoing everything, that he could be brought back.
Killmonger's a good film.
I would definitely like to see more space-related stuff because that's also
Same.
where a good part of the Marvel
wait.
universe is.
I really like when the universe gets expanded.
As far as Killmonger goes, I don't know if they would bring him back just for the reason of they've done the evil version of the hero so many times for the villain. You know, like they had Red Skull and Captain America.
Yeah.
They had Spider-Man and Vulture. They had Captain Marvel and her villain. I forget his name.
It was Talos originally, that scroll, and then
Well, no, I mean like the actual spoilers. The actual real villain that was one of the Kree.
it was Jan Rog, and then it was the Supreme Intelligence because the Supreme Intelligence was like holding her back with that little chip that she had.
So
but
what do
I'm
you think?
but I'm just saying that I don't know if they would do that just because they've done that like thing, the like evil, like the evil twin thing, you know, so many times, the evil version of the hero. Yeah,
the only 2 other villains I can think, or 3 actually, that I can think of is Ulysses Claw, but they killed him off in Black Panther 1. So if they're not gonna bring back old villains, they're definitely not gonna bring him back. And then there's M'Baku, the man ape, but he's friendly in Black Panther, so I don't see them going down that route because they're obviously trying to break standards of the comics and be like, let's be more accepting. And then the second one is White Wolf, which is basically the adopted son of T'Chaka. So basically T'Challa's adopted brother.
But that's kind of what they did with Killmonger. They already kind of explored
That's what they did though. Well, I mean, Killmonger, I feel like if they were to do a second one and bring him back, I feel like it would be Wakanda remembers what Killmonger did, and he's gonna have a stronger following, and he has his own cult in Wakanda. So when Killmonger comes back, he's gonna be like, "Sup, bitches," and then now he has a full army. Like it'll be Wakanda versus Wakanda, and it'll clash like that.
Yeah.
And, that's why I think that he'll be brought back. But
I'm not saying that I don't want to see Killmonger come back. I definitely do. I really liked Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. I thought it was great.
He's just a good actor in general.
But I just don't see them doing it. I don't think.
I don't think they would do it either. This is just my dreams, my hopes.
Yeah.
That usually get shot down because of they're not mine. That's like I have no control over.
So White Wolf is a character that gets adopted.
Is the adopted brother of T'Challa, and
But they kind of like mixed Killmonger's origin with White Wolf's origin in the movie.
They kind of did, and also
is White Wolf supposed to be actually white?
Because he basically is the the white version of Black Panther.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
So like they're polar opposites practically.
But
But again, the evil twin thing.
That's the evil
gets
twin.
done.
That's Killmonger. It already happened in Killmonger, so it would just be like a rinse and repeat if they were to bring him.
Yeah.
But also,
I'm not saying that they won't do that because they just did it with Captain Marvel, so
possible. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I just think that because that is something that people are starting to notice and complain about, so I think that they might try and flip it
and do something because the Marvel universe is so expansive and like there's so much stuff that I don't even know because like there's probably more villains out there for Black Panther that I don't know of. But the most iconic ones, because I know of them, is Man-Ape, Killmonger, and Claw, and White Wolf, of course. But like, there's so much more that they can go for.
So do you want to see like a movie made for like an arc involving White Wolf or some bad version of M'Baku, Man-Ape?
Yeah, honestly. But I feel like M'Baku is going to be set in stone friendly, unless he just totally has like a second alternative that we have not seen at all, and he's just like, I'm going to take everything from him like that. But also, they said that Man-Ape and his tribe are vegans, and the only way Man-Ape gets his powers is by eating the meat of a white ape. So, yeah. And also, you call a black man Man-Ape in this day and age, that's not going to go well.
That's true,
yeah. Yeah, so...
Yeah.
I think that's why they steered away from that in the first movie.
Yeah.
Well, what does M'Baku mean?
M'Baku? I don't know what his name really means, but Man-Ape...
That's his M'Baku is the person.
Yeah, that's his just traditional name outside of his alter ego.
People would be upset about that. I guess
about someone being called Man-Ape.
Yeah,
especially since
it's like when you call somebody that's dumb and you're a fucking monkey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there are just racial concerns. That's why they tried to avoid it. Even Michael Kruger said that they tried avoiding that because that's just like that's not right.
Yeah. Well, it's not that it's not right. It's just they know people are going to get offended by it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Still, you don't want to call someone an ape.
Why would you call somebody a White Wolf or a Black Panther?
Well, I mean, that's cool. I think Black Panther's cool.
I think Man-Ape is cool as fuck. Who wouldn't want to be buff as shit?
I don't know.
But anyway, what do you think, Louis? What do you want to be seeing done?
In terms of after Endgame?
Yeah, after Endgame.
Spider-Man. I'm really excited for Spider-Man Far From Home.
I think they're going to continue to use Tom Holland, but I do not think Miles Morales is coming to that universe.
Not anytime soon.
Not at all.
You don't think at all?
No, I think Sony's going to be stubborn. Unless Sony just is like, here you guys go. Here's all our stuff.
But they had Donald Glover come in and say that he was the uncle.
Yeah, but then now Donald Glover's going to have a role in Black Panther 2 as someone completely different. So
really?
I think I definitely think they're trashing that storyline. Because they did have the deleted scene. They deleted the scene where he was talking to Miles. Remember, he was on the phone. He's like, oh, sorry, Miles, I won't be able to make it. Remember when Spider-Man webbed him to the car?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he was... there was a deleted scene where Donald Glover's just sitting there. He's just like, sorry, Miles, I won't be able to make it.
Well, I hope they... Because that would be good, like, if they're going to do the whole thing where it builds up, and then they have the characters die at the end and then start with new characters. It would be good to have Spider-Man die. Not that I want Spider-Man to die, so keep him alive. But it would be a good arc to have Spider-Man die and then have his... Because that's kind of what they're doing with Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man. Assuming Iron Man dies, Spider-Man is protege, Iron Man is like the father figure. The mentor. Iron Man dies, then Spider-Man takes over, then Spider-Man becomes that figure to Miles Morales, then
Mhm.
Spider-Man dies and Miles Morales. Well, I mean, they're both Spider-Man, but you know what I mean. Peter Parker dies and Miles Morales
Mhm.
takes over the mentor role for whoever's next.
Is that? Do you only want to see Spider-Man, or do you have anything else planned that you would that you hope that they do?
I hope that most of my hopes revolve around what happens with Spider-Man. I want Spider-Man to be a bigger role. Like we've seen that he is.
He won't.
Huh?
And not until another hero falls. Cause
Yeah. Well, we've seen that he's capable of fighting on that level. Like he helped in the fight with
Yeah.
Thanos and everything.
Well,
and
because
like
Spider-Man is as strong as Hulk, but the MCU doesn't want to show that.
yeah.
Because then Hulk would be useless.
Yeah.
So
But I hope that the thing is I think what they're gonna play with his character for a while is that he's a teenager and he's still learning, and like I think once he gets out of high school and college and is actually an adult, that's when he'll be a bigger role.
yes,
You know, and I think that Far From Home I think that might be the last movie that. Not the last movie that he's still in high school, but that might be the last time that it's focused on him being a high schooler. And then I think the third one.
I feel like if they had a third movie with that, I'm just like, get the fuck
Yeah,
out
he
of
needs
there
to be
already.
older at that
I think the third also because Tom Holland hopefully will. I don't know.
Hopefully
You know,
he'll
like
grow-
there's
hopefully
a-
he'll look more older.
Yeah, there's a lot of actors that do not age whatsoever, but hopefully Tom Holland will look a little bit older.
Daniel Radcliffe, fucking Tobey Maguire.
Hopefully he'll look a little bit older, and then by the time they get to the third one, it'll be he's either in college or he's graduating high school, and that's like where he's at. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think that they will skip over him graduating high school, though. I think that's going to be a big part of whichever movie that takes place in.
I feel like graduating college would be more important because they already did graduating high school in Amazing Spider-Man 2, so I don't think they'll be able to do.
They did it in
Spider-Man
the,
movies are
in
gonna
the
be
Raimi
slice of
films
life
too.
movies.
Or was that college that he was graduating from?
I'm pretty sure that's college because at high school there was only
No, it was high
Spider-Man
school.
1.
It was high school.
Are we
'cause-
really gonna follow Spider-Man all throughout the different
Okay,
eras?
All the way back to
you're
the
right.
movies.
Let's not. That's another podcast, I guess. But moving on.
Eventually,
from
his movies just become slice of life movies of him.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's in high school. Now he's in. We're gonna do a prequel of him in elementary school.
Yeah.
What I would like to see after Far From Home is him in college for sure,
Yeah.
or him done with it because I want to see a more adult
And then as
more
a
experienced
journalist,
Spider-Man.
When he
Yeah,
finally
I want to
adults.
see the Daily Bugle
Well,
again. I want to see
yeah.
him put on that little pizza cap of
They
his.
did. I forget the guy's name, but they casted someone that everyone's speculating is going to be J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh,
so
cool.
they are setting that up.
Okay, good.
I hope
But
they
it's
fucking
not.
bring
It's
back
not
that other
J.K.
guy.
Simmons. No.
Aw, damn
it's
it.
not. Which I was
Nah.
kind of disappointed by. But I also like that was cool, and he was perfect for the role. But like also like it's cool to see different things. You know, it's cool to have something else.
You always want to go forward.
Mhm.
You always got to move forward.
Although
Meet the
if they do
Robinson.
decide to cast J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson
They
again,
won't.
nobody is going to complain about that.
Of course And so my hopes for it are literally nothing involving the main superheroes. I'm
You
not.
want to see?
I want to see random shit. Like I want to see more Guardians of the Galaxy. I want to see a
Oh,
fucking
yeah,
movie based on the
Guardians would be
Ravagers. Because
cool.
remember how at the end of the Guardians
Yeah.
of the
Yes,
Galaxy 2?
that's what I want to see because James Gunn was setting up the old Guardians,
like, the old Guardians. It's gonna be
Yeah.
fucking cool.
which I am gonna love because I feel like it's gonna be a more satirical and anti-hero version of the Guardians,
Mhm.
and you don't bring on Sylvester Stallone
Yeah.
for
no
a
reason.
cameo.
Yeah. And I just love the way they did the ending for Guardians of the Galaxy to send off
Mhm.
what was his name? His character
Yondu.
name? Yondu.
The second Guardian.
That's also what I'm disappointed about. They have to have Yondu for the old one because he was the most
course, they
he was
better
the
have
most
it.
iconic Guardian.
It's got to be a prequel of some sort because like it just I like the second Guardians of the Galaxy quite a bit. I just wish that they would have killed off Yondu in the third one. That way we could have had even more time
It
to
would
grow
have
with
been more
him.
emotional.
It would have been even more emotional.
Yeah.
And then they could have done a prequel with the Ravagers because like the way they did the ending, it was like you could definitely tell that they had a lot of like history. And like it just made it seem like a lot greater, even though you
Yeah.
never experienced it before. So I was kind of like disappointed because I wanted to have more time with Yondu.
Yeah.
But yeah, regardless, it was a really well.
I mean,
done
with a
scene, really
snap,
well done
anything's
shot.
possible.
Bring back Yondu
In those
please.
3 hours, they
And
can
then kill him
definitely
again.
bring back
The
Yondu.
only thing is if the snap does all that and brings back a bunch of dead characters and stuff, then it's gonna take away the stakes for the next movies because they could be like, well, what's the next thing that's gonna be like the snap that just fixes everything, you know?
No, because
Well, maybe
the
only-
Infinity Stones are a very rare case, and the Infinity Stones are they're only thing that can do that besides the Beyonder, which they're never going to bring the Beyonder in because he's basically like the living Stan Lee in Marvel.
Oh, okay.
He brings all the heroes and villains together just to battle in one spot, just for his entertainment. And he's a god in itself, and even Thanos can't beat him. But it's
Well, I think what it really comes down to for that, if they decide to do that, is what happens to the Infinity Stones after they do it. Because if they decide, oh, we're just going to put these in different corners of the universe, but we know where they are, then it takes away the stakes. Because it's like, if we need to do anything, we can just go grab them, you know?
Well, that's just comic books in general. Like, they have all these people die off, and then they come back, and it's just, that's how comic books are. Because they definitely...
But again, it's a more casual crowd. A lot of... Because the majority of the people who... Well, not the majority, but a lot of the people that go to watch these movies don't read comic books.
Of course not.
Yeah. I could see that. But still... I feel like there is going to be some people. I don't think they're going to bring
in the Earth 4 and Earth 3 and all that other weird shit. I don't think.
No, I don't think I don't think that they're going to do that because that's just a whole clusterfuck of things. Like I feel like they would only do that if they want to bring back characters. Like that's probably like future, like beyond the actors that we see now. Mm-hmm. Like after the next big bad, that's almost level with Thanos. Like Galactus, if he is the next big bad person.
Yeah.
After they defeat him, maybe they'll go to a different universe and restart with different actors, and then that's how they'll go from there. Yeah. But I do not see alternate realities coming anytime soon.
Okay. So
I only see time jumping as a thing.
So I did hear a theory about rather than time jumping, and this kind of is what they justified it by using those set photos that leaked. Mm-hmm. And I'll just go through this really quick. We don't have to talk about it very much. Sure. But essentially, rather than time jumping, they were saying that they were jumping to different realities using.
The thing is that the Infinity Stones only work in the reality that they were made in. Oh. So if Thanos uses his gauntlet to go to another reality, he wouldn't be able to go back. Okay. The stones would be useless.
Okay, so then that kind of shuts that out of the question.
That shit's fucked. I mean, I guess if it was
unless they
change
that for the movies.
Yeah,
change that for the movies.
I don't think they're gonna do that because the Russo brothers are really into comics, and they would not do that.
Also, another thing that I want to see going forward, and this probably won't happen for a while. Again, revolving around Spider-Man, is I want to see a darker version of Spider-Man, and a more like. I guess a more mature version of Spider-Man that's darker. Yeah, when he's older. Yeah. Which is kind of what they attempted to do with Spider-Man 3, the Raimi Spider-Man 3.
Except unfortunately, Tobey Maguire just...
Yeah, exactly.
No, they did not attempt that at all, man.
It's so hard to have a really like broody, dark character when he fights. He's going,
and he dances like a fucking weirdo.
See, that's the thing. Like that wasn't dark at all. I feel like he was just a dick.
It wasn't dark. Nothing dark.
Middle school emo. I want to see a darker version of Spider-Man done correctly.
Well, that would require Venom. And they do not have rights to that because Sony's a bitch and a half.
But I don't think it necessarily requires Venom. I think just putting the character of because Peter Parker's character in the MCU has already gone through a lot, and I think just forcing him to go through more really shitty things and fucking dying and coming back to life. I think that's enough to justify him going to like a dark place for a little while, and then like even just one movie where he goes to a dark place. And he's kind of a dark character, almost like on the verge of like anti-hero style.
I guess.
And then he comes back to the light at the end of the movie, and like that could be like his arc for that movie.
That would be cool. There's a lot of things that I wish would happen that probably aren't going to get done.
Because like some of my favorite Spider-Man comics are like the ones where like I really like the Ultimate comics, but also like the ones where like I forget what the comic is. I don't even know if it's 616, but where he goes into
the Ultimate Universe.
616 is the Ultimate Universe?
Wait.
I thought that was the original.
No, it's not.
Anyways, the one where he goes to the prison where Kingpin is, and he has the symbiote suit on, and then he takes it off and fist fights Kingpin in the prison just because he's angry, and he just beats the shit out of him in the prison in front of all the cellmates, and then he's like, now you can't say that I haven't beaten you, like, and like it's just like a dark comic, you know.
Yeah,
and it's just
616 is the main universe.
Yeah, 616 is the main universe.
But
I don't think they're gonna do that.
Storylines like that is what interests me, and that's why I like Daredevil a lot, because Daredevil's really dark, and with the Kingpin is really dark, and like I really like that idea of like Spider-Man being this really like lighthearted, funny character versus like this super super dark, evil, just straight up bad character, and those things clashing, and then also Spider-Man kind of falling down into that level
That's
And,
kind of
like,
what Daredevil did though in his series.
Yeah.
Is that he went so low to the point where he was considering killing Kingpin in season
Mhm.
3.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like
And
that
he
whole
was
quote.
almost to the point of that he
and that
like
was, season 3 was my favorite season.
it was by far the best season.
Yeah.
And then they canceled it. Right?
And they
Yeah,
they
they
canceled it
canceled it
because
'cause-
Disney and Netflix, I'm pretty sure, are having a falling out.
Yeah.
But
Well, they also want to move everything over to Disney streaming, so it's
no, it was something about
Business.
Netflix saying that
Yeah,
since the
shit,
Disney
shit.
streamers is being service is being created, they're like, oh, okay,
We don't need
trash,
Netflix
trash,
now.
trash,
yeah,
trash, trash.
yeah.
Ridiculous. Money, 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 man.
Yeah. So yeah, but you
Anyways.
could see that he was on the verge of killing Kingpin.
Yeah.
On that there, like on that scene there, but
I think that's a
I,
perfect
I
illustration.
don't think
of
they
the
will
quote.
do that with Spider-Man because Spider-Man is such a lovable and iconic hero. He's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Mhm.
That is his title. I do not think that the MCU will showcase that darker side like you want. Because
Yeah, I
it'll-
guess.
like you said, you want you miss as much people to watch this, so you want kids to watch
Yeah.
this.
I don't want kids.
There
to watch
are
certain things.
parents
But
there are parents that will not let their kids watch rated R movies.
Good.
My parents didn't let me do that, so
My
I
parents
It just
don't let me
depends
do it
on
either
what
unless I
you're-
went with them.
yeah, it depends what
Yeah.
your parents are like. My mom was perfectly fine with it because my mom led the style of parenting where she's like, you need to experience things for yourself in order to learn. So there you go.
yeah, my parents were like that. They sheltered me a lot.
No, I think I don't know. I think you're right, but also usually the way that you make an already interesting character the most interesting is you put them in the most challenging situation that you can put them in,
Yeah.
and then you write how you think they would react.
I mean,
that's
they
how
would
you
grow.
write. Yeah, that's how you write a character.
They did go dark for Iron Man 2.
Yeah,
But that wasn't Disney. That was Paramount.
Yeah,
That's why I think they're not going to do it. But also, that's one of the worst Iron Man movies out there.
And then you get Iron
Well,
Man
you have to
3,
do
which
it
is
right.
supposedly pretty good.
because if you
Iron Man 3?
With Shane Black directed that one, and supposedly it was pretty good.
Better than 2.
From what I read,
Better than 2.
Iron Man 3 was supposedly.
But
what's
it was
the
still
Rotten
pretty
Tomatoes
bad.
score?
Well, I don't give a shit about Rotten Tomatoes, but Metacritic might be.
The only reason I would say it was good is
Rotten Tomatoes gives it 80, Metacritic gives it 65.
the only reason I would say it was good is because it showed that Tony Stark doesn't need the suit to be Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Like that was like the cool moment. Like he was taking out people with Christmas ornaments. That was cool. But then also, that wasn't Iron Man either because
Yeah.
Iron Man is the suit.
I did like the scene in that where he turns the corner and he has the blaster thing on one hand and the gun in the other,
Mhm.
and then the guy's like, "I don't even like working here. They're
Yeah,
super
that
weird."
shit- see, that was funny. Like, but it was just also they destroyed the Mandarin, which is one of
Yeah.
Iron Man's greatest.
Well, they had
opponents.
the post credit scene that kind of retconned it a little bit, didn't they? Where he was like, because you meet him and he's like not actually the Mandarin, but then I think there's like a post credit scene or something in a Marvel movie where it like cut to him and he was actually doing something evil or like
Oh.
he was actually being, I don't remember what
I
it
haven't
was.
seen anything on that, but I will take your word for it.
It might have been fan made. I just vaguely remember
It
it.
might have been fan made. I wouldn't be surprised.
Let me finally finish that fucking quote before y'all cut me off.
What was the quote?
I
I'm
was trying
sorry.
to say, we're going back to the fucking thing about how when you start facing dark characters, eventually the character becomes dark himself. It's kind of like that whole that Nietzsche quote: "When you gaze into the abyss gazes back into you." You know, be careful of fighting monsters, for you become a monster
Yeah.
yourself. All that
Mhm.
shit. That's essentially a good illustration of that, and I like
Yeah.
seeing that when it comes to superheroes because superheroes are supposed to be the epitome of good.
I feel like the one thing I want to see is just Nova. Nova is such an underrated character, but he's
What about Adam Warlock? We didn't even talk about Adam Warlock.
Oh, I think he'll be seen in Guardians 3 because
Mm.
James Gunn was luring him at the end of 2.
Yeah.
But I feel like he was very crucial into the Infinity Saga and taking down
Yeah.
Thanos. That I don't know if they should bring him in now.
It might be a thing. It might be like a surprise thing that they bring in.
It could be.
That because the Russo brothers haven't alluded to that at all.
Yeah.
In anything.
No, they haven't.
And
'cause
it might be one of those things like Hulk on Wakanda, where they're like, this is what's gonna happen, but it doesn't.
But then it doesn't.
Or
yeah.
and in this case, it's like, this is not gonna happen, but then it does.
Well, because I think I'm pretty sure that first trailer was the first draft that they were gonna have Hulk in there, but then they decided to add a twist because they wanted to see the moral dilemma of Banner versus Hulk.
Yeah.
Because that's just how how twisted the Russo brothers
Yeah.
are.
I do think that it's possible that that Adam Warlock would come in. However, I don't think it's likely because, again, with most of the people going to see these movies being people that don't read
Yeah.
comic books, you just bring in this character out of nowhere. People wouldn't know who
Well,
he is.
I mean, that's where you got to start somewhere. Like most origin films aren't great.
Mhm.
Like you want to
X-Men
introduce the
Origins
character.
Wolverine was like pretty.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Remember that
We
movie?
don't talk
We
about that
didn't talk
movie.
I like the idea. I like how they
I-
started with World War II,
Yes.
but then they fucking killed Deadpool's character in such a weird
Yeah.
way. And
They created Deadpool's character.
They
in a
created
fucking weird
Deadpool's
way.
Yeah.
character in a weird way, and thank God that Days of Future Past retconned that shit.
Mhm.
But
I still want to see the whole thing with Wolverine and his brother and World
that
War
would
II
definitely
shit,
be. I
but-
think that
yeah.
MCU should definitely highlight that because that is something that is one of the more iconic X-Men stories because
Yeah.
he is always at odds with his brother, but also they are. Sometimes it's really weird how they do it because like sometimes Sabretooth doesn't even know that is his brother and he's just going pure savage on Wolverine. But then there's some points where he's like, "All right, brother, let's do this together," and it's kind of like how X-Men Origins Wolverine was. But I don't know. I would want to see that how they did in X-Men Origins, but I don't think that should be.
No, it's not gonna be. I don't
captured.
think it's being
I don't think
focused
it's
or
gonna be,
something
yeah.
for the
Alright,
Marvel
well,
stuff now.
I think we should
I
wrap.
feel
it
like
up.
we should wrap it up, yeah, because I'm definitely thinking it's an hour, and you're gonna have a lot more editing to do.
Yeah.
You spelled gras wrong for Mardi Gras. It's French. It's Grois.
Oh.
All right, shut the
Oh,
fuck
well.
Goddamn fucking uncultured swine.
up. Uncultured swine.
I have a folder titled Mardi Gras in my computer that he's.
That's
looking
all
at.
the photos you've had, I'm guessing.
I think it's the photos. I'm not really sure.
All right, well
I don't
let's just end
remember.
this right now.
guys.
So that is it. That
we've been on
is
Marvel stuff.
yeah, our opinion on Endgame and basically
And a lot
the
of other
MCU
things.
moving forward. And if you're still here, thank you. If you're not, thank you.
Thanks for clicking on it.
Yeah,
anyway.
just thanks for clicking on it. That's all you got to do. But yeah, that's about it.
All right. We're signing off. Love you guys. It's been the garage, and catch you next time.